Hello everybody, welcome back to the cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Today is the day. This is the day. I've been getting so many requests to talk about the IRS announcement that they are going to delay the $600 reporting threshold that everybody's been talking about for so long, and it's going to be delayed by 1 year. But I want to talk about it a little bit more in depth today. And if you are new to the channel, you may not know this, but this is a reselling channel all about flipping things and what we've sold today, what's headed out of here today. So we're going to do 4 of those really quick. Then we're going to dig into this topic. It's something I'm pretty passionate about. I can't wait to talk about it. And then after that, we'll show you the rest of the stuff that's sold. Let's take a look. First item up is a Detroit Pistons bag. I think it's probably vintage by that logo. You know, 90s is my guess. And I got it for $1. Actually, I got it for free. I gave the guy $1. He's like, just get it out of here. And there you go. There's the tag. At the 21 sale. 21. No, I didn't. This was the flea market sale up there in Hillsville. At any rate, this one sold pretty darn quick after I listed it $25 for this one right here. Plus shipping. Look at this, y'all. Tax is such an intriguing topic that look who followed me in here. Because I had to go inside to grab these. She's like, I want to hear about taxes and get a treat. The Stanley, what do they call this? Adventure Quencher, Travel Quencher. And these are selling quick. Probably by the next episode, they'll be all gone. These went out the door for $58 plus shipping each. All 3 separate independent sales. Next item I grabbed at a sale just down the road. We are already in the pure profit. This was the biggest seller out of that bunch. And you may remember it, all new in package stuff. This is like a solar pack. I love this thing. I almost kept it, but you know what? I've got so much of this stuff at this point. Cellular trail cameras, ideal for. So there you go. $55 for that solar pack plus shipping. This next lot of stuff right here took a long time to sell, but I'm glad it did. And it's some old Teddy Ruxpin. There you go. Clothes right there. I just bought a tote full of stuff. And Blue Ridge Mama sorted through it and separated it out. And these right here sold for $20 plus shipping. So in the last week, across all platforms, Facebook, well, I guess not TikTok, but Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of places in the Trash to Cash Facebook group as well, there's been talk of and comments about the IRS rescinding the requirement for tax reporting at the $600 level this year. I highly doubt I'm giving brand new news to a whole bunch of people, but there were a lot of folks that asked for my input on the situation, and I do have an opinion and I do have some input, but just remember I'm certainly not a tax expert at all. That's why I talk about the links to Mark Not Your Dad CPA, although I wouldn't do that now because there's a discount coming up if you're interested or in need of that kind of information. And I talk about my Reseller Genie all the time as well. But I have my own personal opinions about this, and I think I've got it straight. All right, first things first here. This came across eBay Main Street on the 23rd of December. I'm not sure when the IRS released it, but it was very soon before that. So eBay is pleased to report that the Internal Revenue Service has announced a 1-year delay of the new $600 tax reporting threshold. As a result of this delay, which follows over a year of eBay government relations advocacy on behalf of the eBay community, I actually think that's a huge part of this. It may not seem like it to a lot of you, but I'll get back to that in a second. Here's the new stipulations here. Technically, they're not new stipulations at all. They're the old stipulations. Only sellers who, 1, exceed the previous threshold of $20,000, not $600, and 200 transactions, okay? Number 2, that were subject to backup withholdings, okay? That might relate to some of you. Or 3, whose states of residence have a lower reporting threshold will receive a Form 1099-K. And I'm not aware of which states those are, if there are any. So let's just start with this part right here. So let's take me, for example. This doesn't change anything at all for me whatsoever. I am well over the $20,000 threshold. I have been every year for a long, long time. And so it might not apply to any of you out there in a direct way, but certainly does in an indirect way. Now we're gonna get back to that in just a second, but before we do, I just want to head those keyboard warriors off at the pass. I realize that no matter how much money you make, if it's $1, you need to pay taxes on it. So I already get that, right? So don't bother typing that down below. I get that. I do want to address this and how it relates to different people, because it does relate. No matter what your moral issues are with reporting and with paying taxes and whatever you want to type below, it does affect different people in a much different way. So I've already told you kind of how this doesn't really affect me whatsoever, but I'm going to give my son as an example here. So this is the perfect example of somebody that this is going to have an absolute direct effect on. My boy has sold, I'm going to guess, I think he told me at one point, but I'm going to certainly say well under $1,500 worth of stuff, and probably over $1,000 worth of gross money coming into eBay. Now, mind you, he is not making money. He's not actively going out and buying things to resell them. He's really recouping the original cost of items that he originally bought or was given to him as a gift or something like that. There's very little, if any, profit at all. My guess is no profit at all if you were to go through and to take all the deductions and to do all the rigmarole that you need to do. He would be losing money because a lot of these are personal items that he paid more for than he's actually selling them for. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So people in that situation out there, and there are a ton of people in that type of situation, almost none of them are going to go ahead and deal with the tax situation, because there is no chance on the back end. I'm not going to say no chance because I don't want to get in trouble here, but there's little to no chance whatsoever that there's going to be any ramifications from it at all. And even if there were, you could go through the steps and kind of cover your butt. Here's where I think it's interesting. There are so many people out there who used to, and maybe even right now still have, because they may not even have been aware of the fact that there was this new $600 threshold, that have actively tried to keep their numbers under that threshold, 200 items or $20,000. Maybe they've got other incomes and they don't want anything to be reported because they begin to lose those income streams if you make so much money, or they don't want to deal with the taxes at all. And those people are going to take advantage of this. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm going to keep reading here. I think some of this stuff's important. The IRS and the Treasury heard a number of concerns regarding the timeline of implementation of these changes under the American Rescue Plan, said Acting IRS Commissioner Doug O'Donnell, to help smooth the transition and ensure, in other words, this is still coming, and ensure clarity for taxpayers. All right, so they're giving their rationale here. To smooth the transition, to ensure clarity to taxpayers so that they understand what's going on, tax professionals, people that are doing your taxes out there, and the industry, meaning, online selling platforms, not just online selling platforms, but banking and Cash App and Venmo and all that stuff. The IRS will delay the implementation of the 1099-K changes. The additional time will help reduce the confusion during the upcoming 2023 tax filing season and provide more time for taxpayers to prepare and understand the new reporting requirements. Now, I used to teach AP World History, and one of the things we did in my history class was we would detect bias, and we would try to dissect language like that and try to figure out exactly what they're really saying, kind of read between the lines. So let me do that for just a second. At the risk of getting political at all, I'll try not to, and the risk of people yelling at me in the comments, but hey, it happens, right? If that's a deal breaker for you, I'm sorry. So basically, to me, what that means is we have cast such a massive blanket, because $600 requirement that you have just put millions upon millions upon millions of people into this category. And now what you're seeing is, I think the IRS, it's not just eBay and educating the taxpayer and all that. It's the IRS itself. It is virtually impossible. They do not have the personnel to actually go after these small dollar sellers and do audits and double, all that stuff that goes with it. It just is not very conceivable that they can do that. And even if they had the resources, the money that they would gain from the small dollar sellers in tax revenue is probably not as much as they're actually spending on getting that money. Now, when Congress enacts something, this is law. Congress said this is what you're going to do. Now, the IRS is saying, okay, we'll do it. We're just going to do it next year. I guarantee you, I shouldn't say guarantee, it is very likely that the bureaucrats go back to the lawmakers and say, hey, here's where I think this is, you're making a mistake here. Maybe we should reshape this, refashion this, or at least give us the ability to make more decisions, because this isn't going to make the federal government any more money, and it's going to be burdensome on, you know, take your pick, whether it's online selling platforms, whether it's the IRS themselves, and that's a big part of it, or whether that's the taxpayer, the reseller, whoever it is. It's going to be heavy burdens on a lot of people. Two more quick points. We're going to get back to what's sold here, and we'll follow up on this. Matter of fact, next video we have what I think is even more of an important topic in the coming year, but we'll get to that tomorrow or the next day. The American, here's proof. eBay is saying this, right? This isn't me saying this. eBay is saying this. This is eBay's lobbying arm, and I think that's an important point too. The American Rescue Plan of 2021 changed the 1099K reporting threshold from $20,000 to $600 in a single transaction. This lower threshold would force millions of Form 1099Ks to be issued to casual sellers of used personal goods. There you go, that's my son right there. The sale of which generally does not generate taxable income. So there you go. Somebody's personal items, you're paying this much for a brand new item, and you're selling used goods, not items you're purchasing for reselling. You're actually taking a loss. And so to do all of this work to eventually audit a percentage of that group, and they're going to show no income from it whatsoever, which means the IRS is spending a lot of time and effort and recouping no money. Last point, and I would like to believe that eBay is actively the one who's making this happen, and the IRS made this decision because of the lobbying of groups like, what do they call it? The eBay Government Relations Team. You know, eBay lobbying for me and you. Like I said, I'd like to say that, but I'm not convinced that that's the case. But at least they're saying, hey, we've done this work for the reselling community. Actually, and this might be hard for some people to grasp, it actually hurts full-time resellers. Big selling resellers, people that are selling, $50,000 to $500,000 in gross on eBay every year. It actually hurts them because it's removing a barrier for people to enter the market. So, a much, much, much lower barrier to enter the market. So it's protecting those higher sellers, which I don't care. I'd rather it be right. I don't mind, I don't want a ton of barriers just philosophically. I actually want people to be able to enter this market because it can do so much for people to get them out of debt, et cetera, et cetera. But in reality, this law would have helped full-time eBay resellers. Let me finish reading this statement and we're going to get on here. The eBay Government Relations Team would like to thank all the members of our Main Street community, people who are complaining, who made their voice heard on this important issue. While a one-year delay is welcome news for millions of online sellers, Congress will need to permanently change the reporting requirements to prevent mass confusion and over-reporting of income in the future. I think this is interesting. It's very true. People will get that thing and they'll be like, hey, you sold over $600 worth. And they're like, oh my goodness. And they'll pay the taxes on it, even though when they don't have to. If they just had their bookkeeping straight, they wouldn't have to pay a dime on it. Some people all the way up to, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So I'm going to predict right now that the number is actually going to change. eBay will continue to work towards a permanent solution on behalf of the online selling community. So we will see where it goes. Put your comments below. I know a lot of people will say a lot of things about what I just said, and some of them will be legitimate, and I'm eager to listen to them. I just would, caution some people that, you may have misconstrued some of the things that I've said, and I'm not going to spend forever in the comments trying to fix that part of it. But I think for most of the folks who watch this show, I think you understand where I'm coming from. And whether you agree or you don't agree, I think we've made some valid points. And the biggest point of all, in my opinion, especially when you hear the next show, is the fact that eBay seems to be taking these things seriously. I think, you know, when it hits their bottom line, right? A lot of these low-level sellers, they want them. That's a massive part of their business. They don't want to lose people who are going to say, oh, forget this. I don't want to have to deal with the taxes of it if I sell my cell phone for 800 bucks. It's a good thing. I think eBay needs a wake-up call, in my opinion. These little Paul Smith eyeglass cases right here, they sold for $18. They're empty, of course. $18 plus shipping. Sold an ET pin. And eBay, if you're listening out there, I will join the eBay government relations team as an advocate for old mom and pop resellers out there like that. For sure, I would love to do something like that. That ET pin sold for $6 plus shipping. Sold another one of the Danish rosewood trays. They're not much, but they sell every once in a while. It's probably going to go out in the 10x8x4 SupplyHut box. It's going to keep that item in the first class range and probably in the 12-ounce range. And Jimmy, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table over on CommonwealthPicker.com. I'm trying to resist making this a My Reseller Genie commercial. But you know what? And this is the honest truth, y'all. You have been, a lot of you who are trying to ramp this thing up have been given an incredible reprieve where you can get your books in order. I mean, January 1st coming up. A lot of you have, you know, you've been doing this for a while and you already have a system. So if it works for you and you're disciplined enough to make your system work, then awesome. Don't spend a dime on anybody else or any other service. But if you don't, and if you're like me and you're not as disciplined and you need automation and you need support and you need help, check on Paul and Faith, MyResellerGenie.com. Use code Commonwealth, 15% off. You will not regret it. I'm proud to talk about them all the time. I just love them. So ET pendant right there, $6 plus shipping. We had a viewer sale and they bought 3 things, and we didn't have that many viewer sales this episode here. Des, thank you. And I think all 3 of these went out. Let's see if I have the right numbers for each, but $47 plus shipping for all 3 of these plush. Then I'll give you the breakdown for each one. I don't even know what this one is. I don't know where that even came from. Maybe Blue Ridge Mama Buy, maybe it was in a Maryland box or something. That one right there, Roger Rabbit. This came from that sale up there in Hillsville. Boy, it had a tough negotiation. People are always criticizing me for trying to get a deal, but every once in a while somebody gets the best of me. And this person did. But you know what? It's still sold. I love that Roger Rabbit. There's a couple Roger Rabbits out there. The Play School one actually goes for quite a bit more money. And there's minor differences. I can't remember if it was the eyes. Yeah, they're kind of blue. Anyway, there's a few different. And then there was a Webkins, which I don't suggest necessarily buying these. I don't know what I do with it. Oh, here it is. I already brought it out. There it is right there. Penguin. It's kind of cool though. $47 plus shipping total, but the breakdown is, let's see here, $24 for Roger Rabbit, $8 for the Penguin, $15 for this. This was free ship. These 2 were plus ship, so $47 plus ship, and we'll see if we'll refund. I'll have to see how much it was. Refund maybe half of the shipping. Had a bunch of G.I. Joe sales. Scrap iron sold right there. I think I had that one when I was growing up. I'm pretty sure because I remember the weapon. Anyway, $20 plus shipping on that one. It was missing the handgun. CoverGirl sold, and I don't remember, that one was a good one. Yep, $40 plus shipping for CoverGirl, and there doesn't look like there's any weapons at all. That seems like a crazy good one. Barbecue sold, and I think that was around $25 plus shipping for Barbecue. And he looks like he's seen better days. $10 for cards right here. And there are, let's see, Airborne from the Navajo Reservation. There you go. My folks used to live out there near Flagstaff. Lived in Payson for a while. What else do we got here? Classified, and there's another Cobra. And we sold this up here, which is too bad because I like it as decoration. Sold for $19 plus shipping. It has no trays inside, which takes the value down a little bit. That is $125 worth of sales, which I calculated in my mind, and I had it at $115, but which is why I put $89 profit. It's actually closer to $99 profit right there. So I'm going to add an addendum in there and bump that up to $1,885. So far for the G.I. Joe, paid $400, $640 in labor, Don't ask. Go back and watch some videos. So 1,040 into it, 1,875 out of it. Have a ton to go and a ton of vehicles back there as well. Sold a Bible. It's an NIV Bible. Matter of fact, this is not one I would normally, let me dust that off, pick up. But I picked it up because it says wide margins. And it's a reference Bible. And that's going to make it sellable. It's not leather, which is normally what I look for. But it's not your just average plain Jane. Anything that makes it different. A lot of times you can get a sale, $17 plus shipping. A very small Vera Bradley sale. This is a double here, sold two. Hopefully I get the right ones here. Those don't even look identical. Maybe they are. I'll have to double check. I think those two go together. Checkbook cover and a little wallet. $10 plus shipping. A couple episodes ago on the Commonwealth Picker channel, if you remember, me and Turner were out at a yard sale. Couldn't find anything, and I'm like, you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's buy something and give it to a viewer, which we hope to do more of this year. We got a few surprises in store for y'all in the coming year on Commonwealth Picker. Sue McGuire, you are the winner. By the way, if you're ever over there on Commonwealth Picker and I do something like that, I always announce it on Commonwealth Flipper, so come on over. So hopefully, Sue, you watch both channels, because you have some hot dog corn picks headed your way if you can send me an email or maybe get on Instagram. So thank you. Well, I guess I don't have to thank you. I'm sending it to you. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And you can get ready for the summertime early this year. I finally got around to opening some of the gifts. Not even everything yet. But this came from Death Pile Picker, which we opened part of that gift last time. But check this out. First of all, Loretta Lynn is awesome. But check this out right here. Open this thing up and look at that. Loretta Lynn. I mean, that is super cool, Mike. I really do appreciate that. It's going to go in my personal collection. Really down to earth, you know. I used to tell my students all the time, and I tell my kids, you know, we don't realize just how incredible we have it. Just simply my generation. You know, those people who were maybe even a little bit older than me on down to the young folks today, you know, we've been living in about the most amazing time in human history as far as comfort and wealth. You know, if you compare it to places around the world, but places in the past, just amazing. And I'm very grateful. And, you know, don't go back too far. And you had people that really, really struggled. One more quick gift. HappyHoundTrading.com. CWP.HappyHoundTrading.com. They had a YouTube video. Thank y'all. And look, they have a QR code on here. My wife opened this. I'm like, well, I need that. I need to show them the QR code. At any rate, and incredible generosity here, y'all. Let me see if I can open this. He's got some neat notes there as well. But where's the... I thought it was in here. Maybe it's not. Hold on a minute. I had to go back in and find this. Check this out. They have made a charitable donation in our name to Isaiah 117 in Tennessee. Not the local chapter here, just the whole organization and all. That is amazing. I cannot thank you all enough, and all the giving that was done this holiday season. We're going to try to do a little bit of it throughout the year, not near as much as we were doing. And I realized something the other day, and I'll talk about that on the next video as well. This is normally where we would do a Turner sale, but Turner is out with a friend today, and he probably won't be back tomorrow's episode either. So, anyway, he's having a good time. Super excited for him. This Superman, adult Superman costume, sold for $12.95 plus shipping. Sophie followed Reagan out here again. I thought we were going to have Wallen in here today, but we got Sophie.
Have to pick her up.
That's right. She's been following us out when she knows there's treats out here.
She does.
All right, what do you got? CommonwealthPicker.com store.
Lori got an Enderman, and Brian got an Enderman too.
Yeah, we forgot to give a shout out to Brian. His girlfriend bought him an Enderman. So, Brian, thank you so much. And there's your shout out. We hope you enjoy that in the new year. And Lori's from Lake Havasu City, which I've been there, out there in Arizona, right on the border. Anyway, thank you all very, very much.
Bye, and don't forget to get your sticker at CommonwealthPicker.com.
All right, y'all, we are out here in the Supply Hut, which means I always talk about SupplyHut.com, code Commonwealth, 5% off. But you can't beat free. So I'm curious to know how many of y'all out there actually asked your friends and family, you know, at the holiday season here, Christmas time, to save stuff for you. Save the boxes, save even the tissue paper. Did you get any good packaging material hauls over the break? So let me know in the comments here below how you did out there, and thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate you stopping by, and I can't wait to see you next.